So our lesson today is, are you ready? Are you ready for what you want? You know, I've always been interested in why this metaphysical and you could say religious or spiritual, why this stuff works or how it works. So let's start off by getting a feeling together, right? So I want you to repeat after me. I am ready to be ready. Some of you, I don't know. One more time. I am ready to be ready. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about epigenetics. Now, I'm going to talk just a little bit about it, so don't fall asleep, because it has to do so much with this getting ready. When humans and animals come to a new environment, a new place in the world that's unlike where they were before, the environment that they're in signals their genes that, oh, if you're going to survive here, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to change. And so the genes, and this is the amazing part, know how to. So that so many animals come to new environments. For example, I think of the Arctic fox, who's just like any other fox, except when it went to the Arctic, it developed a white coat. Its genes started expressing as a white coat for it. So you and I have this same kind of thing where we're in an environment, that is to say, the world outside of us gives us a signal, and we can change with that signal. But we also have this incredible power within us to start thinking like, visualizing like, talking like, praying like, feeling like, seeing like something is so. And the genes start changing. If you start thinking of yourself. You know, I've had this voice condition for a while, and I've been through the doctor, so you don't have to worry. I've had all the tests, and they all say the same thing. I don't know. So I'm just going to take it. It's what my grandmother used to tell me. It's just meanness coming out. So, but it's getting better. And that's because I always have a picture in my mind, in my morning prayers, of me speaking easily and harmoniously and well. And I do that until I feel like it's done. And you know, sometimes I speak that way all day. So whatever this is, I'm turning the genes around. Do you follow me? Epigenetically. Now, I want to tell you a wonderful story. Well, just let me finish by saying this. Change is inevitable. And the genes we have allow us to change. Otherwise, we'd all die when we're 22 from too much alcohol. Am I talking about myself again? You. Denise keeps me straight. So things outside of us can influence us. Out here, this seems like the very realest of real. This out here, we grew up in this environment, and it seems so real, so solid. But I want you to know, you look at those seats you're sitting in, feel how real they are. Just touch them. Now I want you to know, from a physics standpoint, they are 99.9999% empty space. And you know what that's filled with? Information. Information that you're not aware of. So the genes also react to that. And we can believe what we've always believed or what society, their culture tells us. Or we can start believing something else, and our genes will start changing our body to match that. Now, this is important. Why? Because your body is your subconscious mind. You know, I've kind of learned that in the past few years. Since I've retired, and here I am, since I've retired, I've accumulated a lot more knowledge. And up and beyond the science of mind, it's like Ernest Holmes said. He said, I don't have the final answer. He said, you're supposed to go on and learn more. And I want you to know, people have done that and are doing it. And the world is changing, I think, for the better. But what happens to you is that when you become convinced, and we'll talk about that in a minute, convincing yourself. When you become convinced something is so, the genes in your body start making tissue in your brain and body and start making nerve connections that line up with that belief. Well, what does that mean? That means there's a signal, an electromagnetic field of energy around you that sends a signal to the universe that says, this is who I am, and this is what I want. And the universe, through this wonderful law, the great law of attraction or law of mind, I don't care what you call it. It's really a law of vibration, of energy. It sends back to you people, situations, circumstances, and events to match who you've become. Do you follow me? If you follow me, raise your hand. Okay. Thank you. No, my sight isn't going there. So, things outside of us have influenced us, but now we have this wonderful capacity to allow things inside of us. What we say to ourselves and to other people. How we feel, whether we feel bad or good. What we see in other people. What we see in our vision of life as an end result. Some incredible good, as if it's already happened. Because I want you to know, here's what I believe. I believe it has already happened. In our class that we're studying this in Neville says creation is finished. And I used to wonder about that when I first read it years ago. What does he mean, creation is finished? I'm not finished. No, and I never will be. And neither will you. But whatever you want, it's already done. It's out there in that quantum field of infinite potential. Already there. What you have to do is match your vibration and energy to match that. In other words, it'll come to you. Joe Dispenza says, what your thoughts are a signal to the universe. But how you feel is what brings it back to you. How you feel in your heart. How you feel about yourself. How you feel about life. Well, you see, you can't go around blaming people and blaming life and blaming them and blaming whoever your political opponent happens to be, because that's not the truth. You have to love everybody. You know, and that's a signal for you. When you stop loving people, the signal you send out says, I don't want any more of this love stuff. Right? Can I get a witness? Okay. Well, I got a little heavy there talking about epigenetics. However, let me show you how amazing it is. Years ago, back in the 1980s, when I was really getting into this stuff, Ellen Langer, who was a psychology professor at Harvard, did a study. And what she did was she took a whole group of men, older men, and she put them in a special environment where she put two groups. But the first group, she put in this special environment in a monastery in Peterborough, New Hampshire. She put them in this monastery, and the only thing they saw were magazines, TV shows, newspapers from the era 20 years before then. Right? So they started living together, I think for 10 days. I'm not sure about that. Might have been longer. So this was the environment they're in. So when they took their medical measurements at the end of the thing, they were at least 20 years younger. How the hell did that happen? There was one guy who had arthritis bad. He used a cane. He stopped using the cane, and at the end of the week was playing touch football. They inundated themselves. I like that word. Inundated themselves with pictures, words, feelings like they were 20 years younger. And their genes responded. Did you hear that? They responded and made them 20 years younger. Now, if that's not amazing enough for you, you need to go home. You understand what an incredible thing that can be to those of us who were raised in this environment, that everything seems to be out there. They got the power. They got the this. They got the that. No, they don't. You have it. You have it. You have it. You have it. And stop telling yourself you don't. You have it in your power to create anything. Anything. A clear voice. Anything. What did I say? Anything. That you want to create. That fits you. That makes your heart feel warm. You can do it. Anything. Ernest Holmes told us that years ago. Now we have more scientific proof. Now we have. About that same time, I'll tell you what, about that same time, the early 80s, Deepak Chopra wrote his quantum healing book. And that was, at the time, we were all like, wow. In fact, we sponsored Deepak Chopra to come here. Remember that? Some of you remember that. No, we only sponsored him once. But anyhow, the first time we sponsored him. And he was great. But he tells a story. Now, we're talking about genes, right? And epigenetics. He told a story of a woman, kind of like there was an old book called The Three Faces of Eve, where they had different personalities. Well, he told the story of a woman who had two different personalities. And in one of the personalities, she had cancer. And another personality, she didn't. Now think about that. So when somehow she switched, the genes in her body took all of the neuropeptides, all of the hormones, all of the chemical reactions, all the catalysts, and switched her around and made her cancer-free. He told that story. Ernest Holmes told a similar story. He was praying for a lady back in the 50s. And he was praying for a lady. And he kept not getting results. She had 3 distinct personalities. And she kept telling him about it. I've got these, and he even saw her go into one of them. So one night he said, I'm going to pray until this lady is healed. What? He said, I don't care. If it takes all night, I'm going to get convinced she's healed. And so he sat down at the beginning of that evening, and he prayed there. And he just saw her as whole, complete, and perfect. He just saw her that way. And he kept seeing her that way. And then he had an insight. He went, oh my gosh, I'm buying into her stuff. I've got to stop that now. So he stopped it. And he kept seeing her as whole, complete, and perfect. And you know, she called him the next day. And she said, you know, last night about 3 a.m, about when he had his insight, last night about 3 a.m, all my personalities came to me in a dream and said they were me. Said they were me. That's a healing. Do you understand? Now that's what we're talking about here. And I know sometimes people get off and they get into, oh, you know, here's what's wrong with the church. Here's what's wrong with the sanctuary. Here's what's wrong with the people that run it. Here's what's wrong. Well, get over that crap. There's nothing wrong except you believe it's wrong. Do you follow me? So you have the capacity to make all of that you think is wrong right. And when you make it right, it's right for you. Because that's the only person it can't be right for. Do you understand me? Sorry, I'm preaching again. So, if you want something, back in the class, I had people, I'm going, you know what? I want to raise the energy here a little bit. Everybody stand up. I want you to just do something. You don't have to go that far. Just find someone maybe you don't know, okay? And just say this to them. I bless you. I praise you. And for the goodness of God in you. For the goodness of God in you. I praise you. Okay. Find somebody else. Do it. Tell them this. You're good. You're very good. I bless and praise you. How does that feel? Okay. That's enough. You don't want to do too much. You'll be healing Nashville. But actually, Nashville doesn't need healing, does it, Lynn? It's already whole, complete, and perfect if we see it that way. Now, I have to do that because I want you to know the most important thing you do in your life, if you want to create something, if you want to make a change, is you have to feel good. Did you hear that? I don't want it to just pass you by. I want you to take it right in your heart and feel good as often, maybe all the time if you can, but as often as you can. And I know some of you out there going, well, you don't have my life. You don't know how I feel. No, and I don't want to know. But I do want you to find something to feel good about. Now, so, this is the business of creating. Because people have said to me at different times, well, Mitch, you only speak about one thing every time I hear you. I suppose that's true, because every time you hear me, I'm going to talk about principle. And the principle is, it's done unto you as you believe. Not as you want, not as you like, but as you really deep down believe. So, you're going to have to start believing. You're going to have to start changing and believing something different. Because I know how hard it can be to change. Some of you has to die when you change. The old part. It's alive. It's tissue in you. Do you understand? So when that part dies, it doesn't want to. Goes, wait a minute. Are you sure about this? You've been doing this all along, and it's pretty safe. You're still alive, sort of. But are you really? See, if you want, you can do and be and have anything. And I don't know what that is for you. I'm not talking about becoming the CEO or Elon Musk. I'm not talking about that. Unless that's something you feel you want to do, then you can do it. But I'm talking about being the best you. You know, being who you really are with love and joy. And I got something to tell you. When you feel that good about it, everything in your life will change. And you'll start finding only good things and only lovely things. And as Paul said, things that are of good report. Oh. So, a great teacher, Jesus, says, when you pray, whatever you desire. Didn't say, well, don't pray for that, but you can pray for this. Said, in whatsoever you desire, when you pray, believe you have received. How do I believe? A lot of people used to ask me, well, Dr. Mitch, I just don't have enough faith. And I'd say, you got all the faith you need. You just have to give it a different direction. You know, you have to be what I'll call glad. G-L-A-D. Give life a new direction. Give life a direction. And how do you do that? Well, we're talking about change. Reminds me, I've got to have a joke. I found a joke. There was a woman who was talking to her friend about a recent breakup she'd had with her boyfriend. And the woman says, well, so he asked you to stop smoking and you did? She said, yes. And he asked you to lose weight and you did? Yes. And he asked you to go take some classes and go to the gym and you did? Yes. Well, why in the world didn't you marry him? And she said, well, after all those changing, I thought I could do better. And that's the truth. You will do better after changing. When I was a kid, we used to get dressed Sunday mornings for church, and we'd put on our best, a suit and tie. And that one suit we got from, but we put that on, and we go to church. We put on our Sunday best because we wanted to have a Sunday best experience. You know what I'm saying? Anybody done that? Everybody, yeah. So we put on our Sunday best. Now, I don't know that they do that anymore, but it seems like in those days it was all about how do I look, But so we put on our Sunday best. So if you want to create something, if you want something new in your life, you have to put on your Sunday best. You have to put on a new idea, a new feeling, a new words, a new picture, a new vision. And here's how you do it. I got this from Neville. You think of the end result. Just like Ernest Holmes stopped thinking about a woman with 3 faces of Eve and started thinking about a woman who had no problem. You follow me? So you start this. You start seeing yourself. Well, let's say, I don't know, you wanted to be a successful real estate agent. We got some of those in here. So you see yourself at the office, and you see the guy said, look, our best salesperson this year is here. You see him or her saying that to you, and you feel that. So what does that feel like? It feels good, right? Feels like you're there. I tell you, I had some songs cut one day. This is back, in the Paleolithic days. But I knew some of this stuff. And what I did was, I kept seeing one of my songs as being in the top 10 on the Billboard chart. I cut out my song. I put it there. I looked at it every day. And I closed my eyes. Well, you know what? That song went number 1. Now, believe me, see, I came here for that. I didn't come here for this. But I knew I was supposed to do this after I got here. Because I love this. I love the explanation. I love what it's done in my life. I love what it can do in your life. So you have that vision of the end result. What would that be like? You in it, not looking at it, but you right there from it. You see, you're right there. People are patting you. You smell, maybe you're drinking some champagne in a celebration. And you do that over and over and over and over. I don't mean all day, but I mean every day. You start your day with something like that. And then you write a little affirmation that's like that. And then, most importantly, You start that by feeling good, because that's the feeling, the energy that brings it into your experience. Do you understand what I just said? If you did, turn to someone, tell them about it. What did I just say? You understand, if you can do it, if you can explain it, you got it. That enough? I see some of you are just getting up. Okay. You see, whatever you're doing, whatever you're saying, whatever you're thinking, it's a prayer. A prayer is not something you just get down on your knees and you have special incense and stuff. That's nice. But it's every thought you think and every feeling you have. So I'm here to tell you, and I am here to tell you, you can be, do, or have anything your heart desires if you will just do those things. And I'm gonna be nasty now and say, you know why people don't get what they want? There's no follow through. They give up too soon. They don't persist in it. Don't be that way. I don't care if it takes you every day for a year or saying an affirmation 10,000 times. Wouldn't it be worth it to be healed? Wouldn't it be worth it to have your heart's desire? I think so. Yes. So put your hand over your heart now. Just close your eyes. Say, oh, thank you, Father, Mother God, for the wonderful experience of life that's coming to me now. And for all the wonderful experiences I've already had. And you know what? You have. And so it is.
Welcome to the Sunday service at CSLN. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs.